Everyone, it's 23rd of June 2024. I'm Gary Waterman. I hope you're all doing really well. I'm a former police constable. I'm a Christian and a victim of this international government fraud. Now, I've had to think carefully about whether to disclose this next video. Some of you aren't going to like it. It's got quite a big religious element to it, but there's no way of avoiding that, I'm afraid. And I wouldn't want to anyway, if I'm being honest. I'm a Christian. But I think this could be very important. Everything is telling me that I need to release this information. I'm just going to literally read it to you. I can't verify or corroborate this big bit of information at the beginning, but it does tie in with everything that I'm going to show you in a bit and some of my other evidence. So this is an email that I received last night on the 22nd of June 2024 at 18:38. You can see in the top right there. And you can see it's to my email address. I have redacted the email address and name of the person that sent this information at their request. Sorry, it's a bit scruffy, the redacting. And let me read this to you now. Hi, please don't give my name out on air. I have attached written proof of my clearance, but it's only for you. I'll show you that in a minute. So you know I'm not a crackhead. I'm not seeking attention and would appreciate my name never being mentioned on air. Please note my clearance was granted to me by the High Command of the SAS, in brackets, which means the Royal Family. And you cannot get any higher clearance. I can go and have been airside and could enter a war room with the Prime Minister if requested without my clearance having to be raised, because it can't be raised. It is as high as you can get. Now here is the purpose of the email. To recite to you what I recite to them all, and have been reciting since 2019. In 1994, I was given a mission that about now, regardless of the circumstances, I shall come out shouting 4 words on behalf of Diana, Princess of Wales. King Charles is Satan. The mission was authorised by Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. That's it, just those 4 words, who they are from, kind regards. This is the image they attached to the email. I can't verify or corroborate that this is an authentic certificate. I've redacted the person's name at their request, so I'm just showing you it. And you can see at the bottom, it's dated the 9th of May 1998, which appears to be 4 years after this mission that they're stating they were given. I responded at 22:16 hours last night, stating, "Thank you for your email. Can you provide any further information, please?" They responded at 23:33, you can see on the top right there, last night. And they said, "Hi Gary, yes, I was briefed that if asked, I can tell you anything that was said in the briefing, but absolutely nothing else." So the briefing was as follows. This won't be verbatim, but I shall try to include all the relevant details. Detailing caveats of the mission. You are to wait 25 years from when you pass out. In brackets, I was to go on my passing out 2 weeks for the TA Territorial Army. I'm presuming that stands for in 1 week's time. So there will be no possibility of you being a serving member of the military whilst doing this, because this mission cannot be carried out by a serving soldier and then come out shouting 4 words on behalf of Diana, Princess of Wales, as follows. King Charles is Satan. Given as Prince Charles at the time, but as you will be aware, you always have to address them by their present title, so it updates. You are neither to seek nor accept any form of gratitude, payment or reward of any kind in doing of the mission, nor on the back of the name of the princess ever. You are neither to seek nor accept any form of personal publicity or increase in personal fame in the doing of this mission, or on the back of the name of the princess ever. You are not to disgrace the princess in any way in the doing of the mission, no silly stunts to attract attention, no signs trailing behind airplanes or anything like that. You are to remember who you are working for and that it is not to be taken as a stunt or a joke. You are not to beg anyone for belief, just those 4 words and who they are from, unless questioned further, and then you can tell them anything that was said in the briefing but nothing else. It is important not to appear to be asking people to believe anything you say, because of the dignity of who is involved. You are to be the poor voice in the crowd. A rich man is not required for this, and so you'll be poor at the time that you carry out the mission. The mission is completed when at least as many people in the world have heard of this as would hear of any other story relating to the princess. That is to say, almost everyone. You are never to add personal comment or opinions, nor add anything to what has been said. You must stick to those 4 words and who they are from and nothing else, unless asked, and then only to what has been said in the briefing. There are 2 comments to add from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, as follows. Number 1, the Queen and the Princess are friends and always will be. You are always to remember that and not believe anything you may see to the contrary on the news, in the papers, or anywhere else. The Queen neither makes nor takes friendships lightly. Never forget that. Number 2, no one puts a hit out on a royal princess and gets away with it. No one. End briefing. At the end there, he's put in brackets, there might be 1 or 2 more caveats, but nothing I can't fill in later. If I remember anything, suffice to say, sleeper agent in regards to this. I responded at 11:28 this morning on the 23rd, and I said, thank you for your response. I would like to consider publicising a redacted version of your emails. It ties in with so much of my evidence, and I'm going to show that in a minute. Please, can you provide any other confirmation of your career position in aviation and any other information to support that Princess Diana was murdered by Charles? Thank you very much. They responded saying, lol, I'm presuming that's lots of laughs. I'm not trying to impress you, mate. The certificate is plenty and is worth the paper it's written on. It doesn't need a CV attaching. Also, I made no such accusations, and I made clear this is nothing to do with me. I'm just the mouthpiece. I'm not to make deductions, accusations, have any opinions or anything else. It just is what it is. Raw. 4 words on behalf of Diana, Princess of Wales, I presume that means, authorised by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And because you asked, the full version of the briefing, but I repeat, I'm not to alter or add 1 word. I think I replied saying something like thank you, and then I had another response from this person. P.S. All said and done, I've sent you the full version because you asked. I am nothing further to do with it. I've done my part, if you see what I mean. So it's actually up to you what you do or say now. Just please don't misquote me because I didn't say anything or something like that. I am just the mouthpiece. I then had another email. I hadn't prompted it. I didn't respond to the last one. And it says, sorry, Gary, I nearly forgot to say, by all means, feel free to report me to anti-terrorist police people, National Crime Agency, the police, SAS, anyone you like. Well, I know half of those are involved in all of this. But that's beside the point. If I'm fake, then I'm criminal. I just thought I'd suggest that rather than putting you under unnecessary stress, wondering what I'm on about. As I say, it's literally just as stated, so you won't be letting me down or breaking any confidence if you call the cops or anything like that. I'm not hiding. I'm just keeping my identity secret from the public because I'm supposed to. Now, read into that email what you want. I'm literally just showing it to you. I can't verify or corroborate anything on there. I've had my suspicions that Lady Diana, Princess Diana, was probably not all, her death was not what we were led to believe. But, you know, a lot of you out there will probably know a lot more than I do. Forgive me for this terrible freeze frame of my picture here. But I'm going to mention this video that I put on YouTube because there's some comments here that I think relate to that email. And I put a video out which showed a clip that I got from TikTok suggesting that Satan is amongst us and is a person, and that basically we've been misled. I can't remember the full, but go and watch it. And these are the comments on that video. And I hadn't made any mention of the king or anything like that. And it said, I'm afraid this video at the beginning reading is misleading, Gary. The devil is your dark side. This manifests as fixation on things outside of yourself. We all have the devil on our shoulders, so to speak. We have absolute freedom to choose what we do, service to self or service to others. That's it. When people live in the mind, you are dancing with the devil. Only from the heart can the devil influence be dissolved from a being's vibration. A response from someone else to that comment said, New Age nonsense. I can assure you that the creator and the devil exists. Pindar, Charles's father, and Williams, apparently, they're the sons of perdition, in brackets, Satan. And by chance, this is another comment that was on the same video. I'm not going to identify who they are. Someone's put, your best video to date, Gary. For those of us who realise the devil is in control, the unanswered question remains, how do we remove him? Is he a current, recognised, physical human being? Now, this blew me away. I mean, I've literally just put that video out a couple of days ago. then I had that email, and then I saw these comments, all within the space of a few hours or a day and a half or so. I mean, I'm just showing you the information. I'm not going to make any speculation about any of this, but now I'm going to show you the evidence that I've already publicised and see where this ties in. Now, this document I'm showing you is verifiable, corroborative evidence that you can go and check and see that it's all true. So I'm going to show you records from Companies House that I have screenshot and put into a document. This document that I'm showing you can be found in my document file link. It is the part 2 document of the Rishi Sunak evidence. Now, I've already done a video on this that you can go and look at. I think it'll be parts 6, 7. I can't remember. There's a few parts to that video. But this is the document. You can go and look at it, and you can go and then check Companies House and verify this. And about 4 or 5 pages into part 2 document, we have mention of royal companies, okay? And the links are irrefutable, okay? So we see links to the fraud throughout. We have royal Guernsey companies, okay? In Guernsey, we know that the offshore islands appear to be heavily linked to supposed child abuse and murder. And you can go and look at my other evidence in relation to that. But in this company, we've got a Todd, Anthony Todd. Not too sure if Mr. Todd here is a relative. I'm sure he'd like to come forward and let us know. Please, Anthony Todd, come and contact me. My email address is going to be in the description of this video. Are you related to Michael Todd, the Chief Constable of Hampshire Police, who was found deceased on the side of Mount Snowdon? And I've mentioned Poor Michael Todd in my World Trade Center disaster video. And I'm not going to read all of this because it's a big document, but you can see we have yacht companies featured very quickly throughout. Isle of Man there. Okay, lots of offshore island sort of connections. More royal publications, but we'll get to the main point in a minute. We've got Paper House Group Limited. So Paper House, that appears to link into the legal system. We know that the legal system there's various connections to the legal system. Obviously that's overseen by the Crown, and they appear to be, it's certainly massively compromised in relation to this fraud. I've found barristers, solicitors, all part of illegal entities, and now we have connections now already to my company. Okay, but we still haven't got to the main crux of the evidence. So this links to my company through a particular shareholder who started up Wessex companies, you can see there, and we have Hampshire links. Okay, and a bit further down, a couple of pages, we then have connections to companies and addresses that feature almost immediately right next to my company, and you'll see these are mentioned throughout my videos multiple times. There's multiple connections back to my company, and we'll get to the main point in a minute. And in fact, it now links almost immediately to the managing agent for my building, where I acquired forged bank documents produced by Lloyds Bank, which we'll come to in a minute. And that company was Owens and Porter, that you can see here. And the gentleman on the left was the actual managing agent, Stephen Owens. I'm not saying Stephen Owens is involved in any fraud. We also then have rifle and pistol companies, and then we go on to Freemasons. We have Freemasonry connections, Slaves Limited, okay, company. These are all very quickly linked. Okay, remember there's over 5 million companies. There is fraud right the way through. So illegal entity companies forged forged documents, incorporation documents throughout. I'm just looking through. I haven't looked at this document for a while. And then in a minute, we'll get to some of the main points that I'm referring to. As you can see, same companies that started my company up throughout, illegal entity companies, Swift Incorporations and Jordans. Traffic accident companies, okay, linked to the fraud, part of the fraudulent system. So that means they can be manipulated. Okay, so crash investigation sites can be manipulated to fit the fraud. I'll let you draw your own conclusions on how that may be relevant. We've got links to Jeffrey Epstein and the same company that links to Rudy Giuliani. I can never say his name. Sorry, Rudy. Who was the mayor of New York at the time of the World Trade Center collapse. We've then got housing companies that are linked to the Independent Office for Police Conduct through companies. We're going to get to the main point in a minute. Various connections to the fraud to the head of company's house, to Nicola Bulley, transport companies as well. Now, Nicola Bulley's parents, or certainly the father, worked for transport companies as well. I mean, there's loads of connections to Nicola Bulley. I'm just giving some of them. BAE Systems, the local councillor for, MP for Bournemouth, the area where the flats are. Max Clifford connections. Again, connections to Michael Lockwood, the head of the Independent Office for Police Conduct, who was removed for sexual offences, supposedly. We've also got the Dorset Chamber of Commerce, which is an illegal entity company. Okay, a fraudulently created company because the incorporation document doesn't match. Leicester Aldridge in the Dorset area. PricewaterhouseCoopers, so there's links through to World Trade Center again. A bit further down, we've got connections to the Isle of Wight. Various connections to the Isle of Wight. Now, this research has started from Rishi Sunak, okay? So it's very, very close to Rishi Sunak on the scale of the amount of companies. And when you look back, it's whoever's input Rishi Sunak's details appears to have used false details to put him on Company's House. You can look at that on the start of document 1 and the videos. So we've got Isle of Wight and my company, certain people within my company linked to the Isle of Wight. And you've got royal companies again. So we've got multiple royal connections. Okay, so this is the most important. This is where it starts to get important. So the company Association of Conservative Clubs Limited, in brackets, that connects directly through to a Russian-British Chamber of Commerce company, okay? Russian-British Chamber of Commerce. Now, when you look at their company names, which are here, you can see the very first one, British Soviet Chamber of Commerce, then it changed to British Soviet Chamber of Commerce without the, then BSCC, and then, of course, it changed to the one that we've just mentioned. But that is an illegal entity company, okay? It's never been registered with this name, which is on its incorporation document. But it gets more relevant, okay? So then you go into another person from that company. They link to a Opera House company. And if we go further down, it links to media companies, independent press standards organisations. Okay, this now gives the ability for the press to be manipulated. But within there, we have the Haculate International Advisory Board, okay? And this is very important because this is the and company started up or connected to the intelligence agencies. Okay, so this is what it was called. It was founded in 1995. Okay, so that is 2 years before Princess Diana passed away. There's various companies mentioned on there, other companies. So we've got British Art Foundation, Royal Geographical Society, Southampton University is on there as well. Now remember, Southampton, Hampshire is very important because the person in my company who has connections through to MI6 had jurisdiction in a NHS within those areas, and Haculate was founded by former officials, and they have connections to MI6, and Haculate was founded by former officials of the British Secret Intelligence Services. The company has recruited several former British spies and journalists from the Financial Times. The name of the company comes from the geographer Richard Hakluyt. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong. Forms large corporations and has close links with large oil firms, okay, it's BP and Shell. And to to the press. But we also have now linked to the Hackulate company, we have pension funds investments. P&O links to the World Trade Center disaster. We will get to the main point in a minute. And also this same person links to De La Rue Holdings. Okay, that is the currency producer for many countries around the world. They produce the currency, and they also have a legal entity companies, and there's showing that here. Okay, so on the on the registration, it should be De La Rue Company PLC, and the date, sorry. So Companies House have put this on there, don't forget, from 1898 to 1991. It had that name and no other. It's completely different. And you can see 1898. So that is a fraudulent entity company, our own currency producer. It's also linked now to Oxford and Cambridge companies. Now they are very closely linked to the child trafficking, many of these, because I suspect because Ghislaine Maxwell was actually on the lived there, with her father Robert Maxwell, and Farrah and Co were part of Ghislaine Maxwell's linked companies via her companies, Oxford Football Club, etc. And there we are again. So you've got Farrah and Co. Anyway, we're getting on. We're getting there. We've also got a link to the Charles Darwin Trust. Okay, so it appears as though that is part of the fraud. And we have to consider the Charles Darwin theory was created as part of the fraud. Now think back to what that email said and the other evidence we're looking at, okay? That would muddy the waters for many people if they're trying to look towards something beyond mankind for faith to help them or to guide them, which is what I've done. It also links through to my company. Again, there's multiple connections to my company. And now we have, very quickly, through that Oxford company, multiple Lloyds banking connections, all linked to the fraud. Companies dissolving, fraudulent entity company. So it's illegally created. And again, loads of Lloyds companies, you can see, illegal. They look like the documents have been forged as well. Shell companies, remember we just mentioned Shell. No surprise, illegal shell companies should never have been created. Waterloo is linked to the currency producer as well, and also to Freemasons. Shell Chemical Company, illegal entity companies. And now, back into the Hackulate company, we now have a connection to Thales. So we've gone back. It looks like we're far away, but we're not. We've just gone back into another person within the Hackluit. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing that completely wrong. And here we are. We have Thales, a company that was developing directed energy weapons. Okay, weapons, actual weapons. You can go and look at it, Dragonfire. So now we have a connection to Russia, the royal family, when we'll see more connections in a minute, the intelligence agencies, my company, all at a time when we're being led to believe they're at risk of a conflict. Okay? Now, Thales, go and look at my Nicola Bulley research document. And there's multiple Thales companies. And this is just to confirm that if you go into that Thales Optronics, which is also linked to the same person here, it goes through to the Lancashire Partnership Against Crime. Okay, the same officers that were involved in investigating Nicola Bulley's death were linked to those companies, and Thales is connected to them. And here's Dragonfly, just to confirm again. Many of you have probably seen this document and the associated video. So now it's just showing the articles confirming that this weapon system is real. And remember, there's lots of evidence now suggesting that other companies that have been creating the 5G are also connected to the same company. So linked to BAE and Thales. And this is just showing some other companies that were connected to creating the weapons. But we'll get to the most important, again, connection through to my company. BAE Systems, here you go. Camford School, it's a school in the area. Lots of BAE Systems, loads of BAE companies. Raytheon, another weapons company. Tatra Steel, that's important because Tatra Steel was closing. If you go and look at the articles, I think I've got some articles above. There you go. So the articles on the right there from January, Tatra Steel closing. And we've got connections to the same company to Typhoon, okay, which links to David Cameron. But I appreciate, where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? How does this connect more? So as we go down, you'll see. And sorry, just a connection very, very quickly now to another yacht company, but this one's very important, the New Yacht Club, because that, if you look at my World Trade Center disaster research, links 3 companies away from the World Trade Center disaster, and 3 companies away from the same person within my company that's linked to MI6. So within 6 companies, you link the World Trade Center to my company. Okay. Now we've gone back in and you've got loads of Bournemouth companies. Okay, the area where I've started. Connections to Lockheed Martin, weapons companies, Dorset Chamber of Commerce, a legal entity company. And links now to Great Britain and China. Okay, so China in collaboration as well, it appears. And we're back into the Hacklit company, and we've got Mitsubishi. And this is where it gets important, because we're still in the Hacklit company. Remember, we haven't gone far at all. You'll see on the right there that David Manning. And David Manning was a former director for the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. And that company was incorporated in 2009. And look at the changes of the name. So it started off as a foundation of Prince William and Prince Harry in 2009. You can see at the bottom there. Changed their name repeatedly. And the last time they changed it was in 2022. 2 months after I started reporting this fraud. And they removed some of the names and changed it. Okay, now, bearing in mind the Princess Diana died in 1997. They changed the name in November 2022 to the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. But if you go on to the incorporation document for that company, not only do you have Bates, Wells and Braithwaite, which connects to Keir Starmer very quickly, and also through to the Madeleine McCann case, on the incorporation document you also have on the last page of the incorporation document, you see 40 of 40, you have these companies listed. If it zooms in, Lloyds Banking Group, okay, HBOS is part of Lloyds Bank. Remember, I acquired the forged Lloyds Bank documents. The complaint has never been finalised. All I needed was confirmation they were real documents, authentic documents. It's never been finalised. Over a year and a half later now, I believe. Importantly, on the bottom, you also have these 2 companies. Ingenious Film Partners 2. That links to Hollywood movies. And there's multiple connections to that company through my research, including from the child protection research side of things and the concerns of the international child trafficking ring. But you've also got the Monks Investment Trust. And we're going to look at that company. And again, I've shown this before. The Monks Investment Trust. And there was no coincidence. It's an illegal entity company for starters. But on the day I had put that, or maybe a couple of days, I can't remember, I hadn't got any further in the document. Someone said, Gary, have you heard of the abuse against children by monks off the Isle of Wales? And here's the articles in relation to it. So 4 days ago, admission of child sex abuse errors at Monk Island. You can see here various articles going back a while in relation to child abuse on the islands with the monks. And we've got coming from that Monk Investment Company, it links to Island House Investments. And then that again links to Oxford. Remember where Ghislaine Maxwell was? They dissolved the company in April 2024, even though it had been operating since 1998. So they're worried, very worried, and trying to remove accountability. We also have connections to Jewish companies on it. This is on the incorporation document. Trustee, Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies. Governor for Oxford Centre and for Hebrew and Jewish Studies. We then have connections through to more pension companies, Whitbread Pensions, Channel Islands companies. Remember, we've got the offshore parliamentary group that was set up, linked to Ghislaine Maxwell, set up by Bob Seeley. Now we've got JP Morgan companies. Okay, JP Morgan, as you know, one of the people within my company is linked to MI6, but also their family companies appeared to start JP Morgan. And here they are, JP Morgan, Emerging Europe, Middle East and Africa Securities. Incorporated in 2002, but they changed the names. Look at this. So it was Russia. JP Morgan, Fleming, Russia. JP Morgan, Fleming, Russia. Changed the names, and then they panicked and changed the names. You can see on the 23rd of November 2022, 2 months after I reported the fraud, it was called JP Morgan Russian Securities PLC, and they took out those names and called it JP Morgan Emerging. Where is it? JP Morgan Emerging Europe, Middle East and Africa Securities. So they removed the Russia name, they removed the Fleming name to try and hide it. Further down through that company, you then have connections to BlackRock. Various BlackRock connections. Atlas Hotels, which links to Jeffrey Epstein. Here we are, we've got Ingenious Film Partners 2. More JP Morgan companies with Flemings in the name. BlackRock obtained the contract to rebuild Ukraine. In Fleming, who was an ex-MI6 agent, connection to companies there. And here we've got a Royal London Pooled Pensions Company. Royal London Pooled Pensions Company Limited. And someone within the company links to Thales again. Commerce Bank Holdings. That links to people within the intelligence agency who are supposedly helping Trump to remove the child trafficking. Now, this is a chance for these people to save themselves and save the world in the process. These people are clearly completely lost. There is somewhere, we have other royal connections now to the fraud. So we've got Prince Philip companies, schools, illegal entity companies, TSB banks, connected. Lloyd's, more Lloyd's companies, Nationwide, Friends of Israel, NatWest again, the Windsor Leadership Partnership. I mean, go and look at all of this. I'm not going to show all of it to you, but there's multiple links through to the same companies, to the same accountant in my company, where the forged bank documents appear to have been being used to falsify our company's figures. The Bankers Benevolent Fund, again an illegal entity company. Alcohol Research. See, so full control of every aspect of it. They control the alcohol problem. If they want to keep it going to make money from the fraud by pumping tax contributions through, maybe they just want to make people suffer in their lives. That certainly appears to be the case. Associated British Foods PLC, controlling the food company, an illegal entity company, controlling the food chain, linked to the Waterlows again. All England Tennis Club, a legal company there. Sorry, not All England Tennis Club, but All England Lawn Tennis Ground PLC. Climate Change, Princess Trust Youth Business, Scotland, a legal entity company. This is another one that someone told me about, so I put this at the end. JV Energen LLP. Some great people working on this with me. They told me about this. If you look at it, it's linked to Farah and Co again. same company linked to Ghislaine Maxwell. And on that incorporation document, on the people register for that, you can see it appears that King Charles was appointed the director for that company. If I can go back to it, on the right there, in May 2011, and resigned in September 2022, the same time I started reporting the fraud. And William then became a director. On the left there, you can see he became a director and then resigned in 2024. Now, through that company, you then link to New Generation Europe Foundation, Europe, remember? And they had names of Open Russia Foundation, Future of Russia Foundation, from 2004 to 2023. They then changed the name in March 2023 and took out Russia and changed it to Europe. After I reported the fraud, I suspect they're panicking. They removed the Russian name so that it didn't make the connection. There's then other evidence, and you can see on that company, it's an illegal entity company. Sorry, I can't zoom in. It was started with the same companies as my company, Swift Incorporations Limited, on the left there, and Jordan's. And on the right, within that company, they appointed, in 2023, I can't zoom in, this Russian person, in November 2023. This person is connected to one of Putin's oppositions, according to this. So they appointed the daughter of someone. I suspect that was to make it look as though they had then set it up, and it was nothing to do with Putin. That is the logical conclusion. But you then have, and this is just mentioning the father, who was the supposed opposition, who was supposedly imprisoned by Putin. Do go and look at the full document. Someone just confirming that war is a theatre. And then there's information that someone very close to Putin was actually linked to Companies House, concerns of Companies House, and here is that person, and their company dissolved in April 2024, and they were registered at Companies House. This is someone, I believe, sitting in the Houses of Parliament as a Lord, I believe, or connected to it closely anyway. And grain holding, they were linked to grain holding, okay? They were appointed in 2022. They closed the company down. A Ukrainian originally. And this is the mention, this is the person in the House of Lords, supposedly. And their company links to addresses, linked to the fraud, same fraud that we've been talking about. And they link to witch and fraud. And media. And also to my company, to another Fleming company, okay? Who are linked to the intelligence agencies. And JP Morgan JP Morgan companies. Again. And again, through to another Wessex companies. And then further down, more BlackRock companies. And then further at the end of this document, you will see that there are links to from a Ukrainian company back to my company, or people within my company. Now, all of this means that there is an international collaboration of fraud between Russia, Ukraine, China, UK, US, international fraud, but importantly, the royal family are connected. And importantly, there are pooled pension funds. And importantly, there are links to directed energy weapons companies where information suggests on my other documents is connected to the 5G network now in place around the world. Now, this is at a time when the mainstream media is trying to tell us that there is a risk of war between Russia and Ukraine. That would not be happening. Sorry, Russia and NATO. You would not have them developing or being connected to the same weapons companies that are developing directed energy weapons. You just would not have that if they were actually at risk of war with each other. So I suspect the war will set up a collaborative strike, if necessary, to reset the financial system. They then bring in a one world order and full digital currency to control and enslave everybody. It cannot happen. It must not happen. And it appears from this that the royal family could be key to it. And that's why I've shown this evidence again, because it links very closely to that email that I've been sent. Just to finish, I thought I would show this. Hopefully you're aware of this painting. You can go and check it out. It appears this was the portrait that was completed recently for King Charles. So, read into all of this what you will. I believe we can all be saved. I believe even those involved in this sinister activity which has been going on, and I'm not saying King Charles is, I'm just literally showing you the information that I've been given. But there are certainly, the royal family are most certainly linked to an international system of fraud and child trafficking through Companies House. That is without question, because you can go and verify and corroborate that. Okay, with all of the evidence that has been being presented. Now, this is our chance, I believe, to turn humanity around and to create what I believe can be heaven on earth, and not the hell that it appears that we are heading. If they remove digital remove to a cashless society and implement digital full control, then we are in serious trouble. We can all do our part peacefully by non-compliance, stopping paying taxes for the sake of the children, for the sake of everyone's future, to compel a transparent taxation system, a fair system for everybody, which is how this world was meant to be, so that we can all live in abundance, no matter what our background, what our culture, what our religion. We've all been given free will to choose our own belief and to treat people how we should be treated. We have gone far astray. These people have gone, they're lost. They are lost souls. This can all be turned around. I suspect it will take those involved in this to turn this around, because there are many, and they have taken control of the highest positions around the world, and they need to see that they can be saved before it's too late for them as well as everybody else. I suspect the Bible has been infiltrated. We know the churches have been infiltrated. We can see that within the documents, within the evidence that I've got, that they have illegal entity companies. The people within my company are connected to church systems as well. We have been led astray, all of us, by the corruption and evil of a very small number of people. God bless you all.